Browns, two of their other positions that were terrible last year were wide receiver and offensive line. The Browns used a lot of capital, both financially and draft pick-wise, to address those positions. They added two new wide receivers high in the draft.
The Cleveland Browns did not just tweak the offense this summer. They attacked two problem areas at the same time. Wide receiver needed more juice, offensive line needed a reset. And now the debate is simple. Which position did Cleveland actually upgrade more? At first, the wide receiver answer feels more exciting. Casey Conception gives the offense speed and easy yards. Denzel Boston gives them size and upside. Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman finally have more help around them. But when you look deeper, the offensive line may be the real answer. Because Cleveland did not just add one lineman, they rebuilt the whole front. And that is why the receiver room cannot be ignored. The Browns needed new energy outside. Last year, the offense too often felt slow.
They gave you got two new pass catchers. They retooled the offensive line.
And that is why the receiver room cannot be ignored. The Browns needed new energy outside. Last year, the offense too often felt slow, too often felt stuck, too often looked like the quarterback had to create something out of nothing. Casey Conception changes that kind of offense. He can work underneath, he can move around the formation, he can be used on screens, motions, quick routes, and manufactured touches. That matters for any Browns quarterback. Whether it is Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, or someone else, easy completions are not a luxury, they are survival. That is where Denzel Boston comes in. Conception gives Cleveland the movement piece, Boston gives them the bigger target. That balance matters. A receiver room cannot be built with everyone doing the same job. You need one player who can win underneath, one who can win outside, one who can separate, one who can make catches in traffic. Boston doesn't have to be a star right away, but if he becomes a real possession target, the Browns suddenly have more answers on third down and in the red zone.
I don't know how the nearly 6'4" Denzel Boston landed at pick 39. Guy should have been a first-round pick. Mel Kiper said he should have been the pick at 24, and we get him at 39. It's the perfect complement to the receiver we already drafted, which was Casey Concepcion.
The receiver upgrade is more visible because skill players always are. Fans notice the highlights, they notice the catches, they notice the speed, they notice the rookie clips. And honestly, the Browns needed that. Jerry Jeudy could not be the only polished route runner. Cedric Tillman could not be the only big body. The offense needed more variety. It needed players who can help the quarterback without every throw being perfect. Conception and Boston give Cleveland that kind of upside. But this is where the offensive line starts to win the debate. Wide receiver got better, no question, but the offensive line got rebuilt. That is a different level of change. Cleveland traded for Titus Howard. They signed Zion Johnson. They signed Elton Jenkins. Then they drafted Spencer Fano in the first round. They also added more offensive line depth through the draft. That is not a small patch. That is a full renovation. And for a team with quarterback uncertainty, a better line changes everything.
I really think I think they've really upgraded this offensive line.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yes, there's still work to do.
That left tackle thing will make or break the season. If they
draft a left tackle and they hit, and I'm not confident they will, but if they do, the offensive line could be pretty good.
That is the strongest argument for offensive line. The Browns did not just add talent, they added structure. If the line improves, the whole offense improves. The run game improves, the play-action game improves. The quarterback battle becomes fairer. The young receivers get more time to separate. Quinshon Judkins gets better lanes. Dylan Sampson gets more space. Todd Monken gets more of the playbook. That is why offensive line upgrades often matter more than fans realize. They do not just help one player, they lift the whole offense. Joel Bitonio retiring makes the line debate even more important. Losing him is not just losing a starter, it's losing leadership. It's losing stability. It's losing a player who set the tone for years. So Cleveland had to respond with more than one move. That is why the offensive line upgrades feel heavier. The Browns were not adding luxury pieces. They were protecting the entire offense from falling apart. When a franchise is changing quarterbacks, changing identity, and trying to build a younger offense, the line cannot be weak.
And try and stay focused. It's just an emotional time because it's what I've done, my whole adult life has been here and been a Cleveland Brown. So it's a big moment.
Bitonio was part of the Browns' identity. When he leaves, it creates a gap that no rookie or free agent fills in one day. But the Browns did not sit still. They attacked the position hard, and that is why the line may be the bigger upgrade, even if receiver feels more exciting. The Browns had to replace leadership, age, injury concerns, and poor offensive rhythm. That takes more than one name. That takes a plan. Wide receiver improved the ceiling. Offensive line improved the foundation. That is the difference. Conception and Boston can make the offense more explosive. They can give the Browns more creativity. They can help the passing game feel less predictable. But the line decides whether those plays even have time to develop. If the quarterback is under pressure immediately, the receivers do not matter as much. If the run game gets stuffed at the line, the playbook shrinks. If the pocket is unstable, the whole offense becomes panic.
Yes, I'm optimistic on this group. I think Quinshon Judkins, if he's healthy, can be a really good player, maybe even better than that. I think Harold Fannin is already a really good player and maybe a superstar, and I know this receiving core is going to be upgraded.
This is why the two upgrades are connected. The receivers do not work without the line. The line looks better if the receivers can separate quickly. The Browns are trying to build an offense where the quarterback has answers. Quick throws to Conception, size throws to Boston, routes from Judy, physical targets from Tillman, tight end work from Harold Fannin Jr. But all of that needs protection and timing. That is where the offensive line becomes the key. That full offense discussion shows why this is not a simple debate. If you are asking which room became more exciting, the answer might be wide receiver. Conception and Boston give fans something new to imagine. They give Todd Monken more ways to create easy yards. They give Shedeur or Watson more help. That is real. But if you are asking which position was upgraded more, the answer is offensive line. More bodies, more proven players, more investment, more urgency, more impact on every part of the offense. Cleveland did not just try to add a starter, it tried to rebuild the engine.
Yeah, Joe has size, really good hands. He is a player that can produce both in the Y, which is kind of your traditional inline, role, and the F role, which is a little bit more of a receiving role. So to have that flexibility in the room is helpful and important. So he was the guy that we liked, we felt was, there for the value, and, we're happy to add him to the team.
Andrew Berry's draft approach tells you the same thing. The Browns knew the offense needed help everywhere, so they did not choose one problem. They attacked multiple spots. But the offensive line moves feel like the bigger correction. Spencer Fano in the first round, multiple veteran additions, multiple draft picks. That is how teams behave when they know the trenches were holding everything back. So the final answer is this. Wide receiver got more fun. Offensive line got more important. The receivers raised the Browns' ceiling. The line raised the Browns' floor. And for a team with a messy quarterback battle, the floor matters more right now. Cleveland cannot evaluate Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, or any young quarterback if the pocket is collapsing. They cannot find out what Judkins can become if the run game has no lanes. They cannot see the best version of Conception or Boston if plays break before they start. That is why the offensive line upgrade wins the debate. But the receiver upgrade still matters, because once the line gives the offense time, those young weapons are the ones who can turn structure into points. That is the dream for Cleveland. A stronger front, a faster receiver room, a real run game, a quarterback with cleaner answers, and an offense that finally stops feeling stuck. So which position did the Browns upgrade more this summer? The wide receiver room got the flash. The offensive line got the foundation. And in the NFL, foundations usually decide whether the flash ever gets to matter.